Welcome to another episode of Grown Men 2. Today we have a special guest, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself. But as usual, I'm Byron.
And I'm Jarrell.
I'm Dante.
And our
I'm
special
Eric.
guest is Eric. All right, we have a lot of stuff to talk about this week, and I'm gonna let them talk because I'm gonna hold back some of my views and points on it this time. So, what y'all want to talk about first? We'll let Dante, since he suggested it, let him bring up what we're going to talk about first.
All right. So this week, whatever, we were trying to go through topics and we were going back and forth. And I suggested that we bring up a topic. Should black people say the N word?
What N word would that be? No, I'm joking.
Nigger.
Oh, that just
Black
hurt
people
me.
aren't saying nigger.
Or, well, you do have people say nigger, or you have nigger, but
okay.
most likely nigger.
Okay.
So, since Eric's our special guest, we'll let him start off with his viewpoint on it.
I'm pretty conflicted on it. I can tell you just personally, I don't say it a whole lot, and if I do, it's with very, very close acquaintances where I feel extremely comfortable. But I'm pretty sure Dante, right? We're pretty tight, right? My brother-in-law, you've not heard me say that a whole lot or very often. But I don't want to go as far as to say that people shouldn't use it. I don't buy the explanation of it's reclaiming power. I don't think so. I think when rappers started doing it, it was because it was rebellious. It was because it was cool. It was counterculture. And look, man, I'm not gonna say don't express yourself because I don't know how many different ways the black community is told to kind of repress yourself, right? So I'm not going to say not to do it, but it definitely has like a place and a setting where it's appropriate. And there's not a whole lot of settings where it's appropriate. But I won't go as far as to say they shouldn't say it in rap. I just think they should drop the BS about it meaning something more than what it means because it doesn't. It's just cool. And it gets kids on board. It's act of rebellion. That's it.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I used to say it a lot when I was younger, especially like high school. I don't think too much in college. Jarrell can attest to that. I don't think I said too much in college, but I used to say it a lot. I think as I got older, I just changed. I didn't think that it was like really cool. I started to understand what older people were saying, like when I was saying it when I was younger, and I just felt like, hey, when you're young, you do childish things, you say childish things, and then as you start to mature and you start to get older, and you start to realize that certain things are not cool. And so I just kind of felt like it wasn't really cool. And every once in a while, I will, if I come out and say it, I'll come out and say it. But very far in between, I don't really use that language. And then also too with having daughters, I don't want them to say it. I don't want, and then also the environment that I was living in when I was in Pennsylvania, surrounded by a lot of white people. If they hear me saying it a lot, then then now you have that that mindset like, okay, well, such and such said it, so it must be okay to say. And then now you open up a whole nother can of worms, and then now you have to, diffuse a bomb because you got people saying stuff, and then other people getting offended because they're saying it. I do remember being in college where we did have some people that would say it, and they were cool with a certain group of people, with black people, and they thought it's like, well, he cool, he gets, and it's like, nah, Nah.
So he had
He
a
said,
pass. He had a pass.
yeah, they try to make it seem like he had a pass, and it's like, nah, don't be saying that. That's not cool.
Okay.
But so that's the reason why I don't really say it. I just know that growing up in Florida, like that was definitely like that's a go-to word, you know.
Yeah.
And it will be hard pressed to find someone that would not say that growing up. So I just thought it would be something interesting to talk about, and to kind of get you guys' perspective on it, because that is definitely one of a hot topic, from black people, and then you also have white people that will the argument will be is, well, you guys say it all the time, so then why can't we say it? And then you have that kind of debate. So I was just like, man, this would be a good topic to kind of bring up to see what you guys thought. So.
Got some seriously strong feelings when I hear that. It's almost like there's nothing they can't have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that one just gets under my skin so much, right? Like you could have your house up in the Hamptons, and when I'm going through Martha's Vineyard, you can stop me for any reason because I don't belong here. But you need the N word too. Like you need everything, huh? Yeah, that one gets me, man.
What about
like
you,
my boy
Jarrell?
Warren G said, man, hey, I want it all. Brand new socks and drawers.
This is it's a conundrum. I mean, I personally don't subscribe to saying it often in a like a serious manner or what's up or something like that. But I also don't mind when someone says it. Um, I think a lot of it all has to do with context for me and how you're using it and how you're saying it. Um, it's nothing forbidden from saying it or, but I think if anybody has the right to say it, we have the right to say it. And as we talked about, the ER compared to the A, and I think that matters for me big time, because I growing up and from what I've learned and what I know, the ER is more of like a possessive type, has a possessive sound to it, compared to the A, where it's like, what's up? You know what I mean? I'm talking to my homeboy, like, without saying the words, we often see females call each other bitch, cunt, all these words. White people call white people white trash, as a joking thing. They do something crazy, so they get possession over that. I can't call a woman that because I do that, I'm gonna get my butt beat. I can't call a white person that because then they're gonna be like, oh, he prejudiced. Mm-hmm. So I believe it is a word that is kind of by us in a way to maybe change that narrative, I guess, where they used it as a derogatory thing towards us, and we get to use it as a what's up. Again, I don't say it much. I don't really believe in it, but at the end of the day, am I going to get mad or am I going to get frustrated with somebody, for saying that? I think that's your way of expressing yourself, and I think we all individually get that opportunity to express ourselves. I do think that the rap culture has enhanced that word to where it's common every day. We're going to hear it. And in the beginning, I got real frustrated with it because it's like, let's be clean cut. Let's do everything right. Like, let's not give them a reason to call us that word or even use that word or even put it in their vocabulary or look at us as less than because we're using that word. But then I started realizing, like, if that's what somebody so chooses, you're not less than. And if that's what we have to do is be perfect in order to be accepted, that's wrong as well. It shouldn't matter really what comes out of my mouth, but that's what we do as people. We get
Yep.
judged. So if you use the word and you say the word and you're truly comfortable, I think a lot of, like Dante said, when I was in high school and I would say it, I didn't realize, I'm young. You don't realize what you're doing. But I think when you come of knowledge of that, almost like Christianity, like when you come of knowledge, I think that's when you should be held to that standard of
Yeah.
understanding what exactly you're saying and what that does. And I think we as a culture, as African American culture, have to understand that white people are going to use it against us. White people are going to open up their mouth and get frustrated and say, well, he can say it, I can say it. Some black people are, are so lax with it. Like Dante said, it's accepted for a white person to be like, hey, what's up, my nigga? Like, whoa, you know what I mean? But that's just the way it is. I know I grew up right outside of Baltimore. And there was a ton of white boys that, used to say it. And nobody ever said anything. Nobody ever did anything. But again, that's that young mindset. I think if I was in the mindset I had now, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not a word for you to use. But at the end of the day, I do think that we all have that freedom of expressing ourselves. And if that's how African Americans choose to do it, accept responsibility with it, say it.
Yeah. I want to expound on what you just said, the part about we have the freedom to do it as African Americans. I think a lot of times, and I'll tell you my viewpoint of it, a lot of times in a Black culture, we think of us as one person. So if Dante says the N-word, all the rest of us should be okay with it because Dante said it. Or if Eric says he don't really care for it, we should be okay and feel the same exact way. And then anyone who's outside of our communities think that we think in singularity. We think the same way as the next person who looks like us. But in reality, we all have different views. We all have different subcultures that we grow up in. So because of that, I may be okay with saying it, but getting around Eric, I don't know him as well, so I would never say it around him. But if I hear him say it, I may say, oh, okay, he said it, and I'll say it. You get what I'm saying? Because I picked up on his subculture, and he's like, okay, it fits mine. I think in a situation where we're talking about how white people, and there's no right or wrong way to address that, it's about intention or, what their intent is of the word. But when they want to say it, I always ask, there's a lot of words in English, vocabulary. Why choose the one word, even if we're saying it, even if it's considered for us wrong? Why do you feel the need that to use this one word out of all the other words in the vocabulary to talk to someone when you know that the past showed people of your look to be hurtful or derogatory? So whether we're using it for a good purpose or a bad purpose, why would someone of a different race want to use that word anyways? I mean, there's 1,000, probably more than that. There's a bunch of other words that they can use. So that's always my thing, but I still use the word. But I use it more. I think I use it more now in the confines of my own house with my own people than I ever used it before. I don't remember really if I use it because I'm older than you guys. I don't know if I remember using it when I was younger, but I cursed. But I don't remember using the N-word because it wasn't really, I didn't hear it a lot. I heard curse words, but I didn't hear the N-word. I think watching TV, listening to music, comedy shows when the N-word was started to use a lot, that's when I started using it. And I never thought anything of it. I didn't think about the history of it or any of that. I just thought, we're Black, we can say it. It is what it is. But no one white better say it. That was always my viewpoint. If you white, you can't say it. Yeah. A Hispanic person, you may get a pass. A Puerto Rican, hey, no, you may get a pass. That's what I'm saying. That was my viewpoint because I was thinking you grew, the struggle in my mindset. So that was my mindset. Doesn't mean I'm right. Like I said, we're not
No,
singularity, so it's not.
yeah.
My viewpoint is definitely not right on a lot of those issues. But I grew, like Dante was saying, I matured, and so I started realizing that I can affect other people in my household by saying that. Me saying it, can make someone else want, not want to say it, but they'll think that it's okay to say, and you're
Yeah.
a person and say it, and then now it's an issue.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest reason that we've had this issue with it, though, is because we're still suffering through an identity crisis as a Black community. We are still trying to figure out what our history looks like. We can do all these ancestry tests or whatever they want to call them, but they don't pinpoint where we're from. They pinpoint a region. And some can say they can pinpoint theirs, but we don't know if it's true or not. They can just say anything. And we don't know what the motive behind them are either. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, we're searching a lot of times for something more than what we are, because we're not considered Americans. Think about it. We're in America, we're not considered American. We're considered African American. And then when we're considered Black, we're considered that's a Black person. And if you go to another country and you're Black, you're still considered second. You know what I'm saying? So throughout this whole world, you can almost be considered something less than. So at some point, you're trying to figure out, who am I? What am I? Where did I come from? And then you start trying to, I may be part this, I'm part this, trying to piece together your past and your ancestry, because you're not happy with what you are today. And that culture that you're trying to build, you may use the N-word, and that's one thing you got in common with a bunch of people in America that look like you. So you're like, I'm going to use this word because everybody I know uses this word, and I don't care, but you can't use it because it's our word, Yeah. So that's where I see it at. Like I said, I still use it. I probably shouldn't use it, but it is what it is.
I think you called it out for what it is. It's a symptom, right, to a greater issue. And whenever people talk about race, and people love to say, "Get over it," right? Get over it. The one thing I go back to, no other minority group in America faces this one particular issue, which is we are America's redheaded stepchild. We are here because of them. They decided they don't want us, and we don't have anything to lean back on, right? So like other groups, let's say you're Mexican, right? And people Debbie down on you for being Mexican. Well, you got your whole Mexican culture and your homeland right there to connect to and give you some kind of solace or strength, right? You can know, you say, oh, we're not what you say we are. Look at this rich culture and history that we have, right? But as a Black American, you only see what they snatch away from you. Even though we all know, if we just open up any book that tells the truth, how much we've contributed to this nation in so many different ways. Right? It's just like, I look at African Americans in this country as you're constantly that child who's like, you're excelling, you're doing awesome, and you're like, Dad, like, come to my event, like, come watch me. Nah, Susie got something over here. Little Billy got something over here. Nah, I can't go watch you. And to me, that's one of these big issues in the Black community that I just keep going back to is, you know what? We got a deadbeat daddy. Time to walk away. Time to start, like, look, I don't need your approval anymore. Right? That's a big thing for me. How do we have that conversation about stop asking others for permission?
Exactly. And Malcolm X said that too. He was like, equality or even peace, those things are not going to come to you. And I know I said this before, but the winning team is not going to give you some of their players so you can even up the game. You got to go get your own players, or you got to change the game. And one of my new purposes is called Refocus Your Finances. And it'll be coming, you'll be seeing more marketing about it, but Refocus Your Finances is basically saying, put your money in places where they appreciate you. Stop buying into these people who don't. There's companies, people ideas and stuff that don't represent the values of what you feel, because they don't. Because if you think about it, if you open up a black-owned business in your neighborhood, no one drives over there unless you have some good ribs, some good chicken, or you know what I'm saying. And then they tell their friends like, "Girl, boy, you got the best cooking," but they won't go to your other shops. You know, they'll go to just the spot, that one spot, but they won't venture down the road to your other spots. You get what I'm saying? So they're not putting money in our community, but we're putting money in all their communities. And that's telling them that we don't have to be equal, because you're still going to spend the money where we need it to spend. And that's 90% of the issues are the money issues. If we had money, if we had wealth, generational wealth, we wouldn't be talking about these issues, because we'll be making decisions on these issues. We'll be at the table with them. When they say, hey, we need to change this policy, be like, hold on. What y'all doing for my people? And as much as people want to say this, and I know people always get on this, that's it's like dividing people. I don't see it as dividing. Your culture is your culture. Everyone doesn't see things the same. We like to dance. We like to entertain. We like to enjoy things. So we like that stuff. If your culture doesn't do that much, why would we put energy in that region? So when it comes to Black culture, we have a lot of things that we like to do that other cultures don't do. So when we talk about money and agendas and policies, those policies has to support the things that we like to do. Everything is not singular in America. We know it's a diverse place, but then the policies are one way though. The policies are always one group of people. And if we don't conform to that, then we're the outlier. We don't want to be a part of the group. Why are you guys segregating yourselves again? You guys are, or we're racist or prejudiced, because we don't agree with your views or how you're treating us, and we call you out. So, and the same thing with the N-word. If we use the word, that's our individual.
Sorry about this, gentlemen.
All right. If we use the word, it's our individual viewpoint. But if someone else outside of our culture uses it and they don't look like us and we all respond, then you should know as a person who's outside of culture that let me not even touch that. But if you choose to touch that, then you're saying, I am arrogant enough to want what they have. Or it's ego. I need that. Or it's just whatever it is that it's making you compelled to say, I want and have to have this word in my vocabulary. And that goes back to everything else. Are we trying to be controlled? Is everything that we're trying to do is being siphoned? Even our bad stuff, even the stuff that we don't want, because we don't need to say the N-word, but we choose to say it because we have no idea we have no idea why it still lingers around when we try to erase it. So that's my view.
Can I push back on one thing that you said? I think most minority communities in America, so I'll make a blanket statement, are, for the most part, there's probably a couple of exceptions out there I won't get into, are inclusive. I don't think Black people in this country say we necessarily want our own thing. It's just by default that we are actively excluded from things, right? Like they actively say, "Oh, you don't match, you don't fit." So now we got to go and try to do our own thing, right?
Yeah, that's a result of being excluded from everything. So we have to focus on our thing. Like when we say Black Lives Matter, the first rebuttal is all lives matter, or Smurf lives matter, because that's the only blue people I know that live. So, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, if their rebuttal to our plight is always going to be attack, eventually that's going to get old. And it did get old. It got old in slavery times. We fought back. We got old in civil rights time. We fought back. Now we're here again. We're fighting back. The difference is now that they're going to understand that now we're fighting back a little smarter because we have more economic structure. We have more economic leverage because these companies that are relying on us, who appropriated all our culture or use our dollars to build their industries and their organizations, they're now realizing that, oh snap, if we forget about them or we shun them, we will lose a lot of money. And it won't just be our color money, it'll be the people who ally with us. So that's a big thing it's a big thing to be on the opposite end of someone saying, hey, I got an issue, I just want equality, but can you just listen to it? And you like, no, because you ain't taking care of your house over here, because you know you kill your cousin killed your other friend and stuff like that, and he looks like you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So we can't address none of your issues until you fix your house. Oh, okay. So the plumbing that you got coming in here, we ain't gonna worry about the flooding, but I gotta fix my roof.
Black on black crime. Black on black crime, Byron.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right? Y'all, look, y'all shooting up yourselves. Can't do nothing to fix that. Yeah, man. Yeah. I will say, I think we don't do enough monetarily. I feel like if you could go and look at black wealth in this country, we have just a ton of wealth, man. Like it's not even a game. But so much of that wealth, to your point that you made earlier, is funneled into their channels, right? And you know, I've had people come at me say like, why do black people need their own thing of everything? And I just make the real simple point. That's because everything's white. And everything's white, right? Like every TV show is white. Everything, you know, my fridge is white, right? Like you see it every single place.
Look at PlayStation 5 came out and it was white. What was that all about? And
what do they say when things are white? It's so clean. I just did that to you earlier today. It's so clean.
Yeah, you did.
Right?
But
right.
And that's where I think we have to make our change and not allow companies, people, organizations to jump on these protests, these ideas, these movements that we have, because if they jump on them, they're going to fall off. And the momentum that we have with them is going to be great. But if they fall off, what happens to we crash or we slow down, and then we're struggling, not knowing how to get there because we had so much momentum before, and now we got to learn how to push. And I'm going to say this, I commend all the people on the streets who protest, who deal with the police face to face during these times, because they're the ones who show up on TV. They're the ones who get thrown in jail, you know, so simply doing what the Constitution said was okay in America, but it doesn't say that for people that look like us to do it. And I had this conversation earlier that when we protest, the police face us. When white people protest, they turn around and protect them from other people to protest. If you ever watch it, let the KKK protest and we come out. They're going to face us. But if we protest and the KKK come out, they're still going to face us. So what does that tell you about the situation? It's the protest won't work if we don't change not only just our views internally, but how we move. Also, we got a lot of black banks. We got a lot of black companies. Invest in them. I mean, it doesn't mean you got to put all your money in those same things, but put money there. Show them that all this money that we've been funneling through your companies for years, you know, it's not going to always be that way.